Hello, and welcome to the Quantum Fit Podcast. I'm Taylor, and I am your host. This podcast is all about applying the different principles of quantum physics and quantum biology to your health and fitness. This gives us a holistic view of how different environmental factors, such as sunlight or cold, play a major role in your overall health. So I won't just be talking about diet or exercise and developing good habits. If you want to really make lasting changes in how you feel, think, and act, then I'd recommend you try to listen closely and have an open mind to what I have to say. Every day I'll be hitting you with a quick 7 to 15 minute long podcast. I keep it short like this because it makes it both informative and to the point so that you don't feel quite so overwhelmed with information. Also, currently I do not do any kind of advertisements. So instead, I ask that you share this podcast with a friend or family member if you enjoyed the message and gained something from it. I want to be able to spread quality and easy to understand content that everyone can take and use in their own daily lives. I would highly appreciate it. On to today's episode, the happiness equation. This podcast episode is inspired by an article I read the other day about happiness. The main idea from it is that happiness comes not from things we get, but, the experiences we have across our life. I mean, hopefully this is not a new idea to most of you. It should be pretty obvious since, we're always getting sick of the new things that we get in our life. Not to say it's bad to want more, things, whether it's a, new car, new house, or whatever. Those are, they can be good goals. They can really motivate the hell out of you. So it's not like they're bad to have. But, memories last forever. And so those, that impacts us, and that actually gives us actual happiness. But and of course some give more satisfaction than others. But it's got me thinking about, how I could relate, what I'd read in it to what I do and why I do it. So why exactly do I seek optimal health? What really is it that, why would I want that? On a base level, what's the benefit of it? And why is it considered valuable information by those who seek it out? Like those of you that, listen consistently. Obviously there's good information here that you want to get, but why do you actually want to get it? What's the end result you're looking for? So I came up with a handy dandy set of equations that kind of makes sense of it and everything else we do in our lives, I guess. I mean, it's a real nerd thing to do, but I don't know, I always feel like being able to step back and examine our behaviors through, an engineer's point of view allows us to more easily change those behaviors that don't get us closer to our goals. So the first equation, and just the main overall equation, is for the main goal we're always aiming at, and that's true happiness, or I guess you could call it satisfaction with our life. I say this because, for instance, if you compare parents to non-parents, people that don't have kids are happier. It's kind of it's a paradox. I think they call it the parenting paradox or something like that. People that don't have kids, they're happier because, kids can be an awful pain in the ass and they're expensive to raise. But on the other hand, having kids, you may not have. I guess the problem in the studies is that they can't actually rate happiness because it's different. It's different kinds of experiences, and it's a much deeper level of happiness that's not even happiness. It's just pure, satisfaction or bliss, or, the exact opposite. It could even be sorrow or whatever, but either way, you get you get more depth of experience in your life that way. So that's why I would say true happiness or satisfaction with our life versus just, overall happiness. But anyways, the equation is just, our total happiness equals purpose times freedom times experiences. In order to feel content and satisfied with our lives in all levels, from, mentally, emotionally, spiritually, whatever other word you want to use, we need to do and be a part of things that give us an undying sense of purpose. Without purpose, there always seems to be something missing. This is how marriages and businesses die. Or it's also why men who quit their jobs, not quit, they retire. They typically, I believe the average lifespan after that is about 3 years. Yes, men will live 3 years after retirement. So as men, we get to look forward to dying after we retire, assuming we don't have a purpose. If you have a purpose, then you have something to actually live for. But we also need the freedom to get those experiences too. Otherwise, we're going to have, just stressful, mechanistic lives. So it's all fine and dandy talking about this, but we can break it down into more equations and get some deeper insight into the original question I asked, which is, why bother seeking optimal health? That's best answered when you see what makes up our personal freedom, and freedom equals time times money times effort. Of course, money, you can start with it, you can not start with it. Doesn't matter. If you look at all the studies out there that have been done on, where people are in life, I guess financially, everybody pretty much balances out after, I think it's between 25 and 30, age 25 and 30, depending on what study you look at, what time frame and, or what years it was actually done. But, after that point, it's kind of, most people can, even if you came up as an underdog, you can definitely, get to a point of making a decent amount of money if you busted your ass and everything. At the same point, the opposite could have happened. You could have been lazy and had a lot of money. Now you don't have any money. So, I kind of ignore money in the equation because you can always get more. It's just, you have to work hard for it. But anyways, if you haven't guessed yet, our health ties into how much time we have in this life. Sickness and weakness takes time away from us. We don't really think about it, but that's, one of the main reasons why we want optimal health, to have more time to spend with those we love and get more work done, more purposeful work. Better health allows us to put in more effort as well, since we can avoid slumps in the day and brain fog, both of which, are productivity killers, ongoing. I can't even tell you how many times I've tried to write in the past, and, now that I'm on the carnivore diet, never have brain fog. Ever, ever, ever. I might just be tired, and it can be hard to write, but before it'd be, impossible. I can't imagine living your whole life like that. You can't hardly put in enough effort. So when we have more time and the ability to put extra effort into our work, we have way, way more freedom in our lives. And again, achieving optimal health plays into those big time. So I guess part of the reason I wanted to do this episode was to isolate these factors out for you so you can really get focused on what's necessary. It's cool and all to try different weird supplements or tricks to get better health. There's millions of them. But spending too much time and effort researching all those, it's going to become a waste. That's why this podcast is designed with efficiency in mind. We need more people thinking like mechanics and getting hands-on, fixing themselves and the environment around them and their community. To sort of paraphrase Naudi Aguilar of Functional Patterns. He talks about that. With total happiness being the end goal in mind, how much of your time and effort should really be spent learning all of the nitty-gritty details for every aspect of health if this whole process actually takes away from your freedom? So that's why I guess the big message here, and the reason I cover those factors, is just get the basics covered, get optimal, and have more freedom in your life. Don't make it complicated. I know I've kind of touched on that a couple times already throughout the different episodes, but it's always worth coming back to because people forget. People get caught up, in the moment, trying to pay attention to everything. Now, of course, we can, keep moving on. Purpose equals vision times goals times actions. Of course, purpose is the culmination of picking a destination you want to get to in some area of your life. That's vision. Setting your goals and reaching those goals through small, actionable steps every day. If you don't know what I'm talking about exactly, or you don't know how to do that, listen to episodes 14, 15, and 31 to get more depth on those factors. This is essential if you actually want to get a lot of shit done in your life, so get it done right. Lastly, experiences equal high highs plus low lows. I talked about earlier, high highs and low lows, that's like having kids, High highs, it's, being proud of your child for achieving things or something, and low could be, God forbid, losing a child or something. That would be the ultimate low, but it gives more depth to people's lives, and they actually have greater satisfaction even from the good and the bad. So, like all the cliches the world over, you gotta embrace the good shit and the bad shit. Reach for the sky, and if you fail, learn from it and get back up again. I don't really have much more to say about this since, again, you've probably heard it before. Again, all those cliches, but it is worth noting that dopamine is king when it comes to our ability to learn from good and bad experiences. It allows us to distance ourselves from it and not get so absorbed into its siren call. So, I wasn't entirely sure what I wanted to actually talk about in this episode. I did it a little bit more ad-lib than I usually do, but I believe there are some good take-homes in it. You need a purpose and the freedom to pursue it, both of which you can handle by taking care of yourself and busting your ass. Become your own problem solver so you're not a liability to those around you. All right, hope you guys liked this episode. If you have any questions or comments, find me on Instagram at RealQuantumFit, Quantum Fit Facebook page, my personal Facebook page, Taylor Kelson, or through a voice message across the Anchor app. See ya!